Welcome back. Well, as you can guess, our Craig Wirth has found a lot of strange stories in his 50 years of TV. He found one from some old film in a box in the storeroom, and he's live in our studio now to tell us about it. Hi, Craig.
Well, this wouldn't be the normal type of story I would cover because it's the story of a prison riot. Oh, but not a normal prison riot. No. You just have to see the film. It's one of my favorite memories. It grabbed national headlines. Inmates rioted at the state prison. They had 27 hostages, including a church basketball team. All night long, officers waited with guns drawn to move in. It was a prison under siege. Negotiators, including Governor Clyde, arrived. By morning, our TV station had its remote truck ready to feed video to the nation.
This morning's top story is in the making right now at Utah State Prison at Point of the Mountain, Utah. A riot in Utah. 500 convicts took part in the riot, which began last night.
And we're going to attempt now to make a live pickup on this story direct from the penitentiary. We switch now to station KTVT in Salt Lake City.
The big remote truck with its big cameras could only get to the doorway of the prison. You couldn't see the rioting prisoners or the negotiators at all. Our producer, Danny Ranger, knew that this was not good TV. He had a swell idea. You see the guy in the old KDYL Channel 4 jacket run into the prison. He went into the middle of the riot to see if all might stop for a moment and if a few could step outside. After all, this was national TV. Well, yes, for TV, we can all stop and neatly line up for the newfangled cameras. So the guns, guards, and rioters all came out with the Channel 4 newsman, Tom Wyman.
We're bringing them out the corridor now, and they will express themselves to you folks who are watching right now.
And if we didn't have this rare recording of it, no one would believe it. Our director then was legendary broadcaster Bob Welty.
Here's the prisoners inside the prison and guards outside, and I was actually pushing the buttons to put stuff on there. Danny was producing and directing it. And he says, okay, take one, cue Tom Wayman, the announcer. And Tom was talking, and he says, cue the prisoners. And somebody gave the prisoners a push, and they came out and started talking. And I heard on the internet coming from back east, one of the guys back there in the control room says, did you hear that? He said, cue the prisoners.
Hey, as long as I'm alive, that's how I want it.
Now keep in mind, this was a real riot with guns and hostages.
Some of the inmates had had some alcohol and goofballs and happy pills, and we found it quite difficult to cope with them.
Oh, yeah. Now this was great TV. We can see the rioters.
I had a pistol, and we had one other gun besides it.
And now let's get to the flashpoint that helped to trigger the 500-person riot.
We have a bookkeeper out here that tells us how to cook our food. I'm a dinner cook. I have the responsibility of cooking for the inmates of this institution, and it's pretty hard to do having a clerk come back here and tell us how to cook beans, which is our main meal. The other night we ran out of potatoes. We had to serve cold potatoes on the main line for the felons.
That's just about one of the strangest telecasts I think I've ever seen.
The telecast became famous. I guess no one ever saw a riot stop for TV before. Oh, the hostages. They were also watching TV. Well, TV was a new thing. Oh, the picture of them, that was taken by the prisoners. And the hostages said they were well fed, too. Now, once you are live on Channel 4 and national TV, and after a little fresh air, hey, let's call it a day. And the headlines across the country returned. Yes, there was that word strange again. That, and the wild Utah prison riot ends. Well, the hostages went home to watch their own TVs, and the guards got their guns back, and old Channel 4. Well, folks wanted to see the film of the live coverage over and over. And now, 62 years later, we show it again. Well, I still couldn't have believed it if I wouldn't have saw that and had the opportunity to talk to the late Bob Welty, who directed that show, and I'll tell you, he laughed about it in every conversation we ever had. Now, it was February 7th, 1957, a perfect winter day for taking your indoor ride. outdoors. That is just bizarre.
It is the most bizarre story probably ever. Can you imagine if the beans had just been good and they'd just been left alone to cook or whatever it was?
I tell you, cold potatoes, that was enough to... And the hostages, they said they were treated so well. They gave them dinner, they gave them a TV to watch. Little different than today, huh?
Can you guys stop with the armed riot here?
Yeah,
We want to do a quick interview with him for Facebook Live.